So, hi there, welcome from Amanda Peddle and Tam's Journey. We are interviewing the lovely Sam Lewis today of A Compass, and Sam is a play therapist and a consultant, and she specialises not only in play therapy, but she also offers behaviour analysis, training and CPD workshops for professionals and families, many other wonderful services. We've asked her on today because we want to talk to her about play therapy. Now, I hear that term play therapist all over the place, and actually, I don't think, despite the fact that we've known each other professionally for a very long time, I've ever really sat down and had to explain to me what play therapy is, because it's obviously more than just sitting around playing with toys.
Absolutely.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
And it's lovely for you to come and spend
time
with us. No, it's exciting. It's a new YouTube channel and we're still learning and we're figuring things out as we go along. So I'm really just picking things that interest me. And lots of people have been in touch with different topics we're going to be looking at over the next few months. But, I'd love it if you could just explain to me, Sam, what is play therapy?
Sure. Basically, play and creative arts therapy is a therapeutic approach that we use with children to help with their developmental points. Sometimes adults may access, say, a counsellor. Actually, for children, verbal communication can be a barrier, and therefore we do that through play, because what it does is it removes those barriers naturally for the children and actually gives them a sense of confidence instantly, because it's something they can do. Play is absolutely essential for children's development. That's regarding socially, emotionally, cognitively, physically, with their language, a whole range of needs. And what it means is that actually those children that find it more difficult to verbalise their thoughts and feelings actually can do it via the play and via the play equipment in the room. Now, the play equipment isn't anything that you're going to say that you've not seen before, but actually what it has been done about it, as it's been thought about and picked out especially so that certain aspects of the playroom support children maybe with identity, and other areas support more with cognition, for example. So that's just like a basic understanding of what we try and do. And you would see in a playroom typically a couple of sand trays, an art area, masks, some movement activities, maybe a box of Lego, and actually that child can use that space however they want to do it. They can do it. They have 40 minutes with me, and as long as they stay safe, I stay safe, and the room stays safe, they can do whatever they like within that 40 minutes, within that boundary of keeping safe. So therefore, it enables them to explore their thoughts and feelings and the difficulties that maybe they've experienced. And that can be a whole range of needs. It can be children with very specific needs, maybe something trauma related. It can be self-esteem. It could be a learning need, a medical need, maybe loss and bereavement. That's something that obviously at the moment in these times that is something that is an issue. And I think that's something that I'm very, very aware of, that I think has already been an issue for lots of children, but I think is going to be more of an issue as we return back to our lives, of our old routines or whatever we end up doing, is that separation anxiety. We've spent a lot of time talking and spending time with our families, and stuck in one household, and suddenly we've got to communicate and get along with other people and leave mums and dads and carers and whatever else. So that is basically it really does support a whole range of needs.
It's quite interesting because that whole idea of being sensory affected when we come out of this, from my perspective, with the work I do with children, it's going to be, the ones, I found that quite a few, they're quite happy at home, they're quite content because they've removed all their fears and anxieties, so they're tucked away and hidden, and they're quite enjoying that. I think introducing them back to that level of noise even and activity is going to be very difficult for a lot of children who might look like they're coping very well at the moment.
Yeah, And I've noticed that there's a lot of children that I've been working with and talking to, and parents, they're saying, well, you know, we're really quite, you know, we're quite okay with this. We're managing. This is okay. It's that worry of that next step.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of us as professionals and making sure that we have got, either already have secure relationships with those clients, or we have the skill set and knowledge, and we are looking after ourselves enough. That self-care is just as important, to make sure that we can develop those relationships so that we can support them when we, you know, with whatever barriers they face. I think, you know, the client and therapist relationship from a play therapist point of view is absolutely key, because actually you know, in effect, you're accepting them as they are, in line with Axeline's principles, which is what a play therapist works under. You know, accepting them as they are, you know, establishing a sense of permission with that child, and therefore it enables them to use the room as they need to. It's not about the adult. It's not about, it is literally us as a therapist facilitating that space so that they can work through it. And naturally, children have the capacity. We actually all do. And I won't go too much into the unconscious stuff, but actually, the unconscious mind, actually, if there is something that is going on for us, naturally it will rise to the surface. If it's something that we need to deal with, it's something that we've been holding on to for a long time, and actually we've struggled with self-esteem or something like that, in the therapy room it will come out, because actually the child naturally will begin to understand that it's a safe space to explore that need.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's absolutely fascinating. I think for me, I mean, one of the things that I've really been thinking about this week, that involves play, is the concept of touch. So there's been a few articles around. Now, I am a hugely tactile person, and that means I like to touch everything. I touch things I try on in shops, I touch my food, touch my bed covers, you know, I have all sorts of toys around the house that feel soothing, and my hands, I really access a lot of the world through my hands and through touch, and I'm missing massively my family, and you know, and having that contact. It did make me think, actually such a lot of our play is done using our hands, and that creative process is using our hands. And I just wondered a little bit about what it is about that sense provides so much comfort and that feeling of security.
I mean, we all have sensory needs, and I could relate to what you were saying in the sense that you could feel things. You know, when I go out shopping, I feel the material. I know if I would like that from that feeling. You know, and there's lots of people with whether it's smell or whatever it is that will. They can decide whether or not something's for them by that sensory need. It is our first sense of communication with anything in this world. Actually, an interesting fact to go with that is the fact that only 7% of our communication is verbal. Everything else is around sensory, body language, vocal tone, all those sorts of things. So I absolutely agree with you that this touch is absolutely essential for us. We all have sensory needs. It doesn't mean that there's always a difficulty. It means that we have needs and we have to have them met. We need touch. We need that comfort. It gives us that sense of connection. It gives us that sense of security. And actually, it also has very powerful emotional and physical health benefits, and that's something that we really need to think about as well as we come out of lockdown or just life generally.
So I mean, you know, I promote the understanding of senses and how they react in the body, and obviously in the book we look at the senses and how that emotional context then moves through the body and goes to the other body parts. But I'm just wondering how we can you know, what we can do with touch and play to recreate some of that, because it's obviously, I have painted pictures while I've been off, and I've done colouring, so I've used my hands in a different way, and it has been soothing. And as professionals, we know why it's soothing, but I think it's nice to share that information with everybody else. You know, and for someone who play is their livelihood, is you know, it's really important to get this information from you.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, basically that touch, it releases. When we touch, And when we experience touch, it releases the bonding hormone, which is a neurotransmitter. Which we won't worry about the word neurotransmitter, but the word I'd like you to notice is oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is that bonding, well-being hormone that is released in the brain and actually makes us feel good. And that is when you are painting and drawing and whatever else we're doing with ourselves in, at this time, that is that feeling that we're getting from where, whether it's touching another person, whether it's connecting with that piece of paper and that paint, whatever it is, it's really important. I know, Amanda, before you've mentioned, a phrase that you have always used within your practice is warm fuzzy. And I think that is absolutely... I love the warm fuzzies. Yeah. And I think that is so important to recognise that, what this touch does is it improves our mood, and actually physiologically, it helps with our heart rate, it lowers our heart rate, it gives our body a sense of calm, and therefore through play and through the materials or the activities that you've taken part in and other people will have, actually they will have experienced that release of oxytocin in the brain, which has left them feeling calm and actually therefore a better sense of well-being, which is vital for us all.
Yeah. No, it is really interesting. And like you say, it is all linked to do with the brain. And for me, from my business is obviously to educate children and families in some really basic information about the brain, about, I use my little plushies, about what the neurons do, how they work in the brain, how the fight and flight process, sets off these things. And I think it's really important that we understand, although the senses direct our fears and our worries and anxieties, we can, I don't like the word control. We can make a choice to redirect these, actually, because if they're busy doing something calming, they can't actually do stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
They're not multitaskers. So choosing to do something like that's a calming, relaxing activity,
and it's
aware of that.
Yeah. Recognizing when you need it, that's essential, and that children don't naturally have that capacity at a young age, and actually even as adults we don't sometimes, but actually it is about the caregivers around us and our partners and our families to recognize when our needs need meeting, and actually when and also and vice versa, making sure you're looking after other people. When I think about it, like a hug, actually, if you hug somebody for 20 seconds, that the release of that oxytocin is significant, and actually it is recognized scientifically that it alleviates stress.
Yeah.
And actually, even in this lockdown, the fact that we're not brushing past people in the corridors at the school, or we're not just saying, tapping the child on their shoulder and saying hello. Actually, those very minute periods of time we are missing, and actually that is detrimental to us, and that's something that we're going to have to return to. And I think that's going to create barriers as well, because actually, hang on a minute, I haven't had that for a while. And there will be other people that are craving it because actually maybe they've spent time locked down on their own, so we've got a real mixture of people that we've got to think about as a society.
And I mean, I'm in a house with two other adults, but they're not huggers. So, the poor dog has been hugged to pieces, and I'm pretty sure she's not aware she's a nice oxytocin releaser for me. But she's starting to run when she sees me coming. I'm going to need to find something else to hug.
Yeah.
I think play is important for adults as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think when we hear the word play, we assume that it's it's just associated for children.
Yeah, and that's where we're missing a trick.
I think so, yeah, because actually I think what I've seen on some of the videos as well I've seen some adults playing with their children and getting a lot out of that.
Yeah.
Saws and like the Legos, and even drawing the rainbows for the windows, and and I think we forget sometimes that we've all got a little bit of child that we need to nurture and play with.
Our inner child needs looking after, and it's there for life. It's there throughout our lives. We must make sure that we we are looking after that. And I think you're absolutely right. I think we've got to a point where we've suddenly stopped doing it. We get to a certain age, it's like, oh, well, I'm at work and I need to be doing this, I need to be doing this. But actually, I think, you know, it's really important that we do have that times of play, because, you know, as we're talking about that release of oxytocin and the other happy hormones that we experience, we still need them through adulthood, you know, and they're not going away. So we need to manage it, because actually, otherwise we are then just dealing with stress all the time, and we're not alleviating that.
No.
I'm absolutely, I'm a great believer in play. I mean, I've always got a box of Lego out, you know, is the truth. You know, it's the thing I like doing, you know, and it doesn't have to be a play, you know. Yes, I like Lego, but that doesn't mean that everyone does. It doesn't matter whether it's drawing, whether it's in the garden, whether you're playing in the garden, or actually your sense of play is doing the garden and actually nurturing your plants or your herbs or whatever you've got. You know, all of those things are forms of play, and it's really important that we just stop for a moment and actually give ourselves that time, because in effect we're topping up our happy hormones all of the time if we're doing that.
Yeah, and like you say, it's important to take time to do that. So I wouldn't necessarily see gardening as something I would enjoy. If I reframed that, I'm going to go and play in the garden and put some flowers in.
Yeah.
To me, because my inner child's quite well developed, and I would probably be more inclined then to think, oh, I'm going to go and play out in the garden.
Yeah, and that's it's about reframing it, isn't it? And thinking about, actually, what do I need? What are my needs? What do I need that will make me feel good today? And sometimes we don't always know, but actually sometimes we think, well, I'm going to do that. You know, I want to go for a bike ride. It doesn't matter what it is. You find something, and even if actually you're not getting that fulfillment of enjoyment, actually what we have to remember is that all of the time in the background, our brains and our bodies are, you know, that chemical release from exercise, and you know, all those happy hormones that are flooded through the body enable us to actually cope with the more tricky things that we experience in life, enable us to you know, be successful ultimately.
Okay, so have you got any tips for us that we can use with our hands? Have you got anything that we can do to keep our hands busy that we might not have thought of?
Just you've got to keep it simple, keep it basic. We don't need to spend a fortune. Yes, you can go out and buy things that will, you know, there's always a sensory internet website that will show you what you can buy, and it will cost you a lot of money. You don't need to. Actually, you know, you can do simple things. Hugs, I've already mentioned. You know, hugs, you know, if you can manage a 20-second hug a day, actually you've flooded your body with oxytocin, and therefore you're already winning. That's one thing.
Chase my daughter around the house later and make her give me a 20-second
Good luck with that.
20-minute hug. She'd leave home.
You'll be lucky. But hugs, is one. If you're living on your own, obviously I appreciate that, you know, that might be resonating with you at the minute, that I can't have that. But actually, you know, being tucked in at night in the duvet, or, you know, at home, you know, wrap yourself tightly in that blanket, because that sensory experience will be what that will be giving you to your body. That feeling, that pressure in your body from that tightly wrapped blanket will really help you. So things like that I would really encourage. Reading together, that's something that I was talking to somebody about recently. Read with your child, or read together as adults. It doesn't have to be the biggest novel you've found across. It doesn't matter if it's the back of a cereal packet, if that's what you want to read. Look at it, because actually naturally you've got a sense of closeness, a sense of connection, and actually you're doing something together. And quite often I think reading does lead to a cuddle, particularly with children. They'll climb on your lap and that sort of thing. So that's something I would really encourage. Massaging a child's hand, I was talking about this again the other day. You know, it really simple. Yes, you can use, you know, some oils if you want to, but you don't really have to. But actually following the contours of a child's hand, just spending time just to follow the contours of their hand, you know, you can do it to yourself as well. Actually, you know, these are all things that really, really help. Following the contours is one, as I've mentioned, but the other thing you can do is write letters, write their name, you know, and how that feels in the hand. It is very calming. It's very soothing.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Another one I've got for you. I don't know if you've got a spare sloth at the minute on the go, but I've got a pizza massage that you might want to give a go, and you can do this to anybody. But I just thought that you might have one at hand. Just on their back, what I'd like you to do, okay, is I'd like you to, with the tips of your fingers, like sort of knead like the dough, as if you're kneading the dough on their pizza. So it's almost like you're grabbing like a ball of the dough, like, so you're kneading it. Okay, so that's it. So once you've kneaded that dough, then you need to put the tomato sauce on the base of your pizza. So we're just going to spread that tomato sauce around and just get that ready. And then we'll need to think about some cheese. So maybe just with our fingers, just lightly across their back, just sprinkling on the cheese.
I like this. I like this idea of the pizza. Yeah, that's nice.
So then now you've got an element of choice. So what would you like on your pizza? So you can think about what you want on your pizza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some salami.
Okay. Yeah, I'd gone with pepperoni in my head. So with your thumb on their back, just push it on the pizza where you would like it to be.
Nice. Pizza massaging.
Yeah.
Something I could get behind.
You could like this.
Yeah.
So this pizza's now ready. We need to get it in the oven. So we're just going to leave our person or our sloth just to the side for a moment, and we're going to warm our hands. And when we can feel that our hands are quite nice and warm,
yeah,
we're going to put them on the back of the person or the sloth. And actually, for them, they've got a really lovely sensation, but actually so have you. You know, this works both ways. Okay, now that pizza's cooked now, it's been in the oven. I am a cooking expert.
Yeah.
So now what we need to do is we need to slice up our pizza. So we can just cut across the pizza, across the back with our hands, slicing up the pizza. And there we have a pizza ready. And maybe it's the other person's turn now.
We've got a very zen.
Excellent.
A very zen sloth.
Cool. Brilliant.
Oh, that's fantastic. I like that. I like that pizza massaging.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's another one. You know, when you're going for your daily exercise at the minute, you know, use it. You know, I know sometimes we think, oh, I don't feel like it today. Go. Even if you go and sit in the garden, it doesn't matter what you do. But, you know, actually there you've got another load of resources in the sense of different materials, whether you've got grass, whether you've got soil, whether you've got some leaves that you can feel, whether you can smell them. Use your senses to you give yourself a sense of calm, but also you can share that with the person that you're potentially with, or your family. So just things like that, keeping it simple, because what they all do is release those happy hormones that we all need to survive ultimately.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's hopefully given people, you know, I'm hoping that people go away and try the pizza massage, because I think that's something that's really simple and really tactile, and something that everybody could, it's just something you could do in sort of just a few minutes, really. It's been lovely to talk to you and a little bit more understanding about therapy and what that's all about. So I'll be putting this up on YouTube, and then we'll be putting all your links underneath. So if people want to get in touch, they can get hold of you.
That's great. Thank you.
And see what you can offer for other people. It's been lovely to chat. Thank you so much.
And I hope the book goes well too.
Oh, thank you. I should be plugging that mercilessly for now up until Christmas. All right, lovely. Speak to you soon, Sam. Take care.
Yeah, and you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.